Okay, today I have this Philips Boombox with spatial stereo in a rather grotty condition, but not a model I remember seeing before. 4-band receiver, someone circled AM and got a few stations written on the dial, and I believe this is not working, but it's working to some degree by the look at it. Very scratchy volume control. Could do with a bit of muting on the old power switch there. This is one with the old 80s frequency response curves. From 30 Hertz, gets up pretty good, flat from 100 to 10k. Maybe with these little piezo tweeters, but you'd barely hear the things anyway. Oh, we're missing a reset button off the counter. Stop eject, and at least the door opens. I bet the tape deck doesn't work though. Well, it's trying to go, but nah. The motor is going. The reel took off for a second, but even the capstan isn't running, so I thought I've got a shop belt there. Rewind works. It's making even more noise now. The capstan goes in. Or does it? It's trying to go in fast forward there for some reason. Oh yeah, the capstan. That's the capstan making that noise and it stops. But since I've got FM radio here, the antenna's actually intact. That's a rare thing on a boombox. There's all something there. Works with me as an antenna. Can't hear any spatial stereo, but if it's in mono, I guess we're probably not going to get that. Let's try hook up to a clip lead to an external antenna, and we're still not getting any FM stereo by the look of it, but are we turned off or anything? Sounds a lot better. I don't think we've got an AM, FM stereo. Oh, have we? We've got mic line in, external mic. That's something this has, which most things don't have. Not that you'll be able to see it very well like that, but yeah, it gets too close to focus on. But I can't get the FM stereo light up, so it's a bit hard to know if we're going to get this spatial stereo thing to work. Oh, it actually says mono. Oh, really? You're telling me it just goes between mono and spatial? That's pretty dodgy. Not much shortwave around these days by the sound of it. Not so much as a single bit of Morse code or anything. Probably too much interference these days.
Tell me, Barbara, what's your relationship to this word, hillbilly?
And then you as far as you can, or you know, perhaps a triangular shaped course. Getting down never. I've got to be honest.
I'm chatting to Peter Holloway, who runs Freedom Sport.
Ooh. So I guess the next thing is maybe pop the cover off. What is it? It's a D8323/10. No model number anywhere else, only hidden in the battery compartment. Anything on the front? Oh, D8323. Oh, let's see if I can get it apart, I guess. Oh, well, there's another switch. Oh, RIF. Oh, that's broken. RIF. That's a new one. Is it radio IF? Maybe that's switchable for different things, different countries or something. And battery cover's missing, which is a bit annoying, but you don't look at the back of them normally. Interesting to see what it's like inside of Philips. They did vary in quality a fair bit. But generally tended to be fairly plasticky, sort of hi-fi they made. At least in this sort of normal consumer stuff. Not at all high-end. Not even, you know, up to Japanese standards normally for even their cheap stuff, but we'll see what it's like. I didn't work on a lot of Philips stuff, but I normally wasn't very impressed with their audio, though. I do have a tuner here that's a really high-end one, but they only made a very few of those units. As that bit's fallen off, maybe that can go back on. We've got some dead wood lice. Or at least they've given us an unpluggable antenna. Oops, there's all the screws on the floor. I should have thought of that. Usually the best way is just tap them on the end there, and they should fall out. That way you don't lose them. Power transformer soldered on. I guess that's the battery slash the batteries once they switch. Oh, this has got the plastic frame speakers in it. Speaking of plastic, but for something like this, what does it really matter? But they've got a puny magnet on them as well. Oh, it looks like that just clips. Does that clip back in there? Oh, but where's the switch? Gotta get it in the right position. Oh, there's the switch. Oh, let's get it in the mid. That's the middle. Again, it's only got this weird little plastic thing to hold this switch in, and it's not the best. A slight bump and it's going to come off again. It's got a little clip thing, so yeah, a bit of plastic. Fantastic from the old Philips. And now I've got the issue of we're going to have to remove this board to get to the tape deck by the look of it. That one's actually loose. That's not a good sign. That was actually screwed right into the tape deck. Again, and it looks like a plastic. Oh, I probably shouldn't have undone that, whatever it was, because it just fell off. One hidden there. Never use silver screws on a board with silver solder connections, because you can't see them easily. I think we still have another one, have we? There's something. Oh, wait, what have we got here? What fell off? Oh, that's another switch with a weird plastic setup. I can see what looks like potentiometers. Oh, yes, those. Oh, God, look at the knob length. A bit different. Okay, now the board's coming free finally. We've got a microphone there that we can just pull out. And we've got two wires going to is that to that piezo? Or is there another microphone hidden in? There's another mic hidden in there somewhere, I think, which is not going to be easy to get to. And more wires jammed under the speaker there. What else is holding this together? Something there. at the tape heads. Well, that's not a good design, is it, if your tape heads are holding it so we can't get the board out of the way to look at the tape deck. Yeah, tape deck's super plasticky. We've got some sort of plastic bracket here. I think I'm going to have to undo those two wires to the microphone or whatever it is. There's a yellow and black wire up in the top corner here. I'll just remove those. They are labelled plus and minus, and black is minus, so shouldn't be too hard to remember. And then yeah, it's got these shielded cables that go to the tape deck. They're tied up to something here on the edge of the tape deck. Geez, they made them short. And then we've got our power connections to the deck. 2 to the motor, 1 to the switch. And I'm already not liking this thing much. Some resistor up on a couple of bits of fiberglass tape. Not sure what that's supposed to do. So do I need to unsolder all this? The radio's got, oh yeah, those little push-in connectors, but they're not in the way yet. It's this damn tape deck. Maybe I just need to loosen off the tape deck from the case. But yeah, pretty horrible thing to work on so far. Oh, come on off there. How's that attached to that? Just being a little pain. It's nice if you can get rid of this back, but I can't even technically, because it's soldered to the battery thing, I can't even releasing the transformer and power bit is not going to help much. One screw there. So we've got a Philips RM20 plastic mech. I mean, look at these puny little speaker magnets, but to be fair, it's got a bit of magnetism in it, but I can't imagine they do a lot. Seems like the old Philips AD speaker number on it. Doesn't tell you anything else. Was that a wattage rating? I can't read what it says in the... How many watts though? Something W. So maybe there's only 3 screws holding this mech in. Yeah, that was it. Oh, the buttons must stay in there. Are they all going to fall out, or what are they going to do? So maybe that's what we've got to do, disconnect the deck. So I've got this bit of wire twisted around, but look at this plastic thing. Not much room to work. It's got a few trim pots in here. Something you don't always see in a boombox. I've got a little Hitachi TBA 810. Or 2 of them. So Philips actually got Hitachi to make amp chips of the TBA sort, which would normally be made and or designed and made by someone like Philips. That's an interesting little thing. And I must admit, Hitachi probably make better semiconductors than Philips, but you'd normally expect Philips semis in here. And we've got a Toshiba chip in the radio, so Sanyo chip there. Oh no, that's in the tape, sorry, that's the radio, LA and NEC, so maybe it was just Philips in Australia used all this, but we've got a Singapore made Mabuchi motor, 2nd of September 82. So that would have been around the time this one came out. Oh, that pinch roll was in terrible condition, absolutely. It's got a couple of grooves in it, one particularly deep one, and the rubber surface is terrible. So that's not going to be the best. That tape head actually looks like it's got quite a bit of wear on it too. Ugh, what's happened to the erase head? The erase head seems to have a hole in it or something. I'm pretty sure it does. Is that meant to be like that? I wouldn't have thought so. I wonder if that's a manufacturing defect. Never seen that before. Instead of having a nice smooth face on it, it's actually got like a hole in it. Very weird. And I still can't really, I need to be able to flip this deck over ideally, so it looks like we can pull the motor this is a connector of sorts. Europeans like doing things like that where they use these connectors that you can push in but they don't really want to come back out again. I guess the other option, maybe that's how we disconnect. The only problem is it's not going to be much good when we go to test the thing, but I might actually unsolder that whole connector. Man, that's some not very nice smelling solder flux. Out you come. And I could, I guess, if I can find a marker pen, which I can never find in this place, even though there's about 100 of them here. Let's just mark the blue as black here. Although I'm not going to be able to separate these bits anyway, I don't think, because we've still got the battery connectors into that connector, so that's not going to work, is it? I'm not sure how you're supposed to release these. The problem is usually if you poke a screwdriver in or something to release them, they then don't work anymore. It's kind of like those fittings, electrical fittings, that you can push a wire in but you can't get it back out again. It's got black on the end. It finally came out. Whether it stays in when I put it back in again is another story. There it is. You should be able to just release the tension on them. Now I'm going to screw that. What is this dodgy arrangement? Ah, great. Whatever it was just fell to pieces. How does that fit in there? Or does that fit in there? I think it went like that. How does it operate? Oh, there's the switch. You can trust Phillips to come up with something like this, so that bit goes over the switch lever, obviously. There's a little bit slots into the board, and the screw goes back on there. It'd be nice if they... I guess that's why that screw's got a different head in hindsight, but at least if it was a National or something, they'd put red screws where you've got to take them out. So I don't save losing that bit. I think we maybe just probably need a new belt here. There, that belt's got a great big dog leg in it, and yeah, loose as. And we've got flathead screws. That's a bit harsh. Ironic in a Phillips unit to have lack of Phillips screws. That's not the screwdriver I want. Where's my big flat one gone? That'll do. Ooh, careful. So at least the belt should be easy to change. I suspect I saw another one on the other side somewhere. At least one good thing about all these plastic gears is it doesn't have rubber idler ties in it by the look of it. And thankfully this belt, we've got it before it really, yeah, it's starting to go a little greasy and sticky, no doubt. Seems to be a lot of oil sitting in the back of that thing, back of the capstan. At least the capstan just pulls out bearings and everything. I'm not sure if it's meant to, but I would have thought that little bushing thing should be press fit, but at least I can get that off, clean everything, maybe put a little bit of light oil on there and poke it back in again, and clean the belt. Let's get this bit clean first. Yeah, that oil or whatever it had on there is completely shot, but this probably hasn't been used for 20 years or more, probably more like 30 years. A lot of them just got relegated to being a radio somewhere. And that's all they're really used for. Yeah, lots of black stuff coming out of there, so that belt was definitely starting to turn to goo. As they do. So I've been lucky with this one. Got it before it really went bad. Man, that is disgusting. Oh, there's a little plastic washer there, we don't want to lose that. And some fluff wrapped around it. So, time for a tiny dab of oil on there. Where are you, oil? Oh, luckily that landed on my finger, that's what we want. Tiny amount. And nothing more than a tiny amount. I'll give that another clean after, hopefully, if I remember. Oh yeah, it slots in a particular way. Oh yeah, there's a counter belt, that's all it is. But that'll want replacing too before that turns into oil. And good chance to get rid of some of this dust. And then we'll probably find out the motor's all wowie and horrible anyway, but you never know. Let's get rid of that one, that's got enough muck on it for one day. Look, that idler assembly was starting to escape. Looks like it just pulls straight up and out. I wonder if you can... Is it going to hurt to pull it up and out? Probably not. Might make it easier to clean. Again, look at this black. That belt was decomposing for sure. So I want to try and get right down to the bottom of that little groove, little V-shaped groove, and get everything out. Yeah, it's pretty good. It must fit into something there, I guess. Just sits in there on that. There, it swings across there. Huh. Interesting little design. And of course there's one more thing, which is the motor pulley. Still a bit of life in that cotton bud. So yeah, we got some sort of strange Phillips stuff in Australia because a lot of it was made in Asia basically. And I guess Phillips probably thought with things like those TDA ICs, if they can get them made locally, rather than having to ship them from Europe or something, they'd do that, I guess. Bits of dust and muck everywhere. Okay, so I need to find an equivalent of this belt. Probably a bit shorter. I'm not sure that eBay belt kit has anything that long in it. Doesn't look like it does. What do we got there? Ooh. Let's grab some of the longer ones. It hasn't let me down yet, but it does have a limited range of sizes. That's quite a bit shorter, so let's get a feel for it though. Because that is not a great big pulley once you get down. It's a little on the tight side, I think. Oops. If you do it too tight, you may actually cause some wow and flutter in the motor or something, so yeah, it's a bit. That'd be ideal for a motor about there somewhere. At least one thing I do have in my old stock of belts is longer ones, I think, because it's always the short ones you seem to use. Only problem is, like these days, I can't remember what length is what. I used to be able to look at them and go, that's approximately, oh, that's not far off actually. That's a 95. That is approximately the same length, but I think that'll be loose. A bit too loose. Oops, helps if you get it on the actual pulley and not under it. Ah, this one's got wrinkles in it and doesn't want to go around the pulley, of course. Come on, you can do it. It's the only problem when they've been sitting around for years in a bag, they sometimes get a bit odd in their shape. Yeah, that's too loose by a mile. But at least that one tells us the area. I can see an 85 there. And we've got a 75, so we've got bound to have something. Let's try an 85. That might be enough shorter. Well, that's simple enough. Just got to get all those buttons lined up and a couple of screws, and that's the deck back in. Other than hooking some wires and stuff back up here. Whoops, I've bent a few pins on this. That'll be right. Put that switch back in. I'm going to hook these mic wires back up, or whatever they are, tweeters or mics or something. Guess I might do that while I think of it. Or should I wait till I get that other connector in? I don't know. And we've got solder all up the lead. Bent, because I've got to get these pins in line to go back in the holes in the circuit board. That's pretty close. And then I've got to get those other wires back in. Actually, I probably shouldn't have soldered that mic on until I've got these in place, because they're not going to go in easy. You're going to have to go from the top of the board, I think. I thought I could probably poke them in from the bottom, but yeah, it's not really much room to do that even. God, they leave you no length. Yeah, that's got it. But it wants to instantly pull out again. How am I going to... Just have to put solder on the iron and get a pin stuck in place, except that the iron doesn't want to take any solder. Try and get one pin soldered in, however badly. Now, do I want to, while I'm here, I definitely want to give all these pots a clean. Frame in the way, because they're all scratchy, so that's a bit better. Probably should do the record playback switch while I'm here. Man, this is a very tarnished looking old on-off switch here. That's just on-off. Oh no, that was tape and radio function, so it just basically, the radio is off by default of the cassette player doesn't do anything until the motor switch is engaged. I don't think I can really get into that, but they are a pretty horrible kind of switch. I bet all the insides are all tarnished and horrible. I could try squirting down inside the shaft maybe. Don't know that it's going to do much. Might stop that clicking in the speakers that turn on. And I need to get all the dust out of the bottom of this thing while I'm in here. Spread onto the floor. Beautiful. Oh, that damn bracket. Now, where did that bracket go? That's got to go back in there somewhere. Shouldn't be too hard to work out what it lines up with, I guess. Maybe it will be. We've got holes in the board. That's probably... Oh, did it go that way? No, they don't line up either. Not sure which way around it went even. Did they fit over that? Possibly. That looks like where it goes. Yeah, that's it. Those two bits on the bottom. Angle bit over down towards the bottom left. And then we've got some standoffs for the board to screw to. And we're going to put this microphone back in. Right down there near the speaker. Get all the switches and sockets lined up will help. What's catching here? That bracket thing is catching, I think. Oh, we've got to get the record playback switch in place too somehow. What does that line up with? Oh, there's a lever at the top here. So that's no problem at all. Ah, that's moved. Come on, you plastic stuff, get in place. Oh, god damn it. Come on, Phillips. Oh, that's not a very nice design. Why won't that go in place? That's not, I don't know how it's meant to go, it doesn't look right. I can't fit like, oh, what the hell have Phillips done here? That's a really weird, they leave like a hole there. That is how it goes. That's plain weird. But we are talking Phillips, so it's often a bit weird, the Phillips stuff. Not sure why, but that's how they do things. Yeah, I should have some screws. I'll at least get a couple of these in. Try and hold everything together. They don't go in very far, that's probably why that other one was loose, because they're barely screwed in to the deck down there. Yeah, that's barely biting, so they went a bit short with these, I think. Yeah, that one basically doesn't bite in. I won't even remove that, because if it's not going to work, there's more risk of it falling out and shorting on something. Especially in a portable device, though this one ain't going to be doing much portable work, I don't think. And I've got, oh yeah, that's the wires on the back power thing. That wire probably should have been under there somewhere, I guess. So I guess we'll have to plug our, oh, I didn't solder this socket in, did I? Ah, damn, it's come out too. Got distracted and the come out. Oh yeah, we got it back in. See, sometimes swearing at it does actually work. Yeah, I should have been straight onto that, and of course you get onto the next thing and you completely forget about it. And then you got to dismantle everything to try and get it lined up again, but surprisingly it went back in the hole even on a weird angle like that with one pin. I don't think there was open hell on that happening. Oh yeah, the transformer, that's right. This was black on the end, I said, wasn't it? Better hope so. Oh, we could be in deep stuff here. Deep brown stuff like the brown wire. Black, brown, and we made the blue, the black with a marker pen. Well, fingers crossed we don't have scratchy pots now, and we do have a somewhat functional tape deck, at least as far as motors turning and stuff. Probably wasn't much point getting it going at all until I've got a pinch roller for it. Not sure if you can even buy pinch rollers as spare parts anymore, but often you can. Well, you used to be able to salvage them out of another tape deck, but of course these days they're getting so old they're probably all just about had their day. Didn't put the knobs back on yet. We've got fast forward, we've got rewind, we've got play without too much black stuff coming off on my finger. I guess I should check pause. Yeah, that disconnects the pinch roller. Jack works alright. That's still very noisy. And I guess I should clean these before I put them back on, but they come off easy enough, so that's no big deal. That way. Balance in the middle, tone in the middle, stereo thing in the middle. Did I clean that switch? I can't remember, probably didn't. FM station. It's not real good receiving, I don't think. Can't even get stereo on that one. So that's scratch free now at least. And where's the tape I don't care about? Well, it doesn't matter that much, but Eric Bogle. Here's our sacrificial tape. Oop. Well, it works until you put a tape in it by the look of it. Something doesn't feel 100% there. Yeah, the tape's seemingly not sitting in there the best. Doesn't seem to go deep enough into the... some bit of plastic stuck on the bottom there too, I didn't notice before. Some broken off bit that's actually just stuck in there with goo. Not sure that's part of the deck or not, but it can go in the rubbish anyway. Whether that was pushing the tape up or something weird. Ah, that was it. Huh. That's all it takes. Yeah, a fair bit of wow, I think. Pretty sure all his songs sound the same, but not a hiss, not very loud either. Stop and eject at the same time. stopping in the same motion. Not very handy. And if we don't, oh god, it's done some damage to the tape too by the look of it, which is, oh yeah, I guess that horrible pinch roller. It's put a crease in the tape in a repetitive sort of pattern. Unless that was already in this tape, but I doubt it. That's why I don't use dodgy pinch rollers. But like I say, that tape's no value to me, but it sort of works. I think it's got a bit of wow, it doesn't sound the loudest, but it is going again, so this thing was a bit of a clean up. It's a bit of an oddball looking box, but that'll probably clean up half decent. I might give it a quick clean and I'll have a look what it looks like. Bit of messing around and got most of the dirt off it. Haven't done the back and bottom and everything properly, but something about it. It's a cheaper looking boombox, but it's actually kind of interesting looking for some reason. Don't really like what they've done with the speakers, but at the same time it's not the worst looking boombox I've ever seen. Certainly a bit different to the usual styling. Maybe that's just what makes it stand out. Philips did make some fairly sort of ugly looking things really, to be honest, and often they didn't look like the best quality, but something about this one is kind of nice. I think it'll make a nice display piece. At least it's sort of running again. Shame about that switch missing. I guess I could probably find another similar one and stick it in there or something just to fill that hole in. But it's not really the sort of thing you notice till you really look for it. And yeah, those knobs could probably do with a bit more of a clean, but yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think that's all that ever happened to it really, is it'll just be sitting on the shelf like that. Very sort of silvery early 80s box. So was it 82 I think it said on the tape deck. But yeah, it really wants a new pinch roller, new reset button there. Which again, you'd have to get another one of the same model to find that. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. I don't think the FM is picking up the best, so I couldn't get it into stereo mode to see whether that control did anything. I guess we could try it on the tape, because that's stereo. I don't know whether that matters, but the pot doesn't seem to do a thing. Might as well damage every bogle a little bit more, because I forgot to try it on tape. No, it definitely does something on stereo. Adds a lot of hiss. Yeah, that's mono. That's a very hissy stereo, and I can see a big lump in that tape. I'm not sure if this is doing it, but or has done it, but yeah, something lumpy. Maybe a bit of damage in the tape, or maybe that's just the way the tape is. So that stereo thing, I mean, I think it's more going between normal stereo and mono. And yeah, it's a shame it's missing the battery cover. And it doesn't run 100% of course with the pinch roller. And the heads are a little bit iffy in it, I think, too. But that'll make a nice little shelf unit. So thanks for watching.